All right, folks. Hello, hello. I think we are live. Yes, we are. All right, and I'm going to check audio video real quick. I hear myself, and just to test, Rob, could you say something real quick, please?
Hello, world.
Okay, I hear you. If anyone's in the chat room, please let us know if you are having a hard time hearing us, but otherwise, we should be good to go. All right,
Cool.
so welcome to Coded Live. Welcome to our Twitch channel here. As you all know,
Thank you very much. It's great to
yeah,
be here.
as you all know, we chat about a bunch of different things. We code a lot throughout the week, but it's Friday, so you know what that means. We're going to put away the green screens, put away the code, and just like chill and have a casual conversation. Put a face to the people that we work with all the time within our company and
Yep.
folks in the dev community. So if you are just joining us live, a very good afternoon, very good evening. It's probably too late in the night if you're in Europe, Middle East, Asia, but thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Basu. I'm a dev advocate here at Progress Software, and with me today I have our very good friend, Rob Lauer. So Rob, please introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Rob Lauer. I am a senior manager on a developer relations team within Progress. Actually, we're now known as a developer engagement team, but it's kind of a sister organization to Sam's team within the Telerik tooling side of things.
Cool. Now, I know for a fact you are in Wisconsin.
I am. I'm in the great state of Wisconsin,
and
in Madison to be
nice.
exact. Yes.
Now it's second week of May. It's actually snowing out. How about that?
We're actually supposed to get snow on Sunday, so yes, it's appropriate for Wisconsin weather for all you folks familiar with the Midwest.
So you said Lansing? No, Madison, Wisconsin. All right, so hang on. Yeah, we're still online. Okay, so that could have been like a Skype thing ringing. Okay, so how long have you been at Progress, Rob?
So I'm kind of an old timer now. I think I've been, my 7-year anniversary was not too long ago, and that dates back to pre-Progress when we were still just Telerik. So I joined in the kind of mid 2013 time of things.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. You joined not too long after, right?
Yeah, I think I'm just a little behind you. So like six plus years for sure.
Yeah. We're both old guys.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I've known you for years and years. We have worked together. But what would you say you do here? Because I know you wear a lot of different hats.
What is it you do here? Very good question. So primarily my responsibilities over the years have changed quite a bit. So I've worn a bunch of different hats at Telerik / Progress over the years, from DevRel to product management to then leading a PM team and then leading a DevRel team. Right now, my focus is on a separate division of Progress that you can kind of think of as a labs type of organization, even though we don't like to call ourselves labs because it kind of implies like a throwaway sort of part of the org. But what we're primarily looking at doing is experimenting with maybe expansions of existing products or even net new products to see, is there market interest in such an expansion or new product? Is there something we can do to kind of magnify the voice of this new feature or new product within the org? So it's a lot of some kind of bleeding edge technology, like we're getting into some AI assisted chatbots, but also we're also looking into things like Fiddler. I mean, a lot of us know Fiddler really well. It's been around forever. And so we are looking at Fiddler related experiments. So can we build and market a cross-platform version of Fiddler? Because not all, 15 years ago, everybody was on Windows. The developer at least was on Windows, right? And now that landscape has changed dramatically. And so no longer is it realistic to deliver a product as useful as Fiddler to a more narrow corner of the developer audience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And speaking of hats that we wear, I am pretty much I cannot be seen without a hat because like our hairs are a mess given the pandemic we are living through.
Hey, I'm
However,
on my second pandemic haircut, so I'm
that's pretty cool. Yeah, you're
getting through
looking
it.
good. Are you getting the family involved to get you that? Nice. Now, I do also ask, like, how would you describe what you do? And by the way, thanks for all that you do. I've known you, and I've seen the impact that you make. But how would you describe what you do to like a 4-year-old?
Yeah, that's a good question because I mean I have little kids and they when somebody asks them what their dad does, they're like, well, computers kind of ends there, right? Uh,
Just typing
so
away
what
all
I
day, something.
right. I used to be much more involved in mobility related things, so I could say, "Oh, I build mobile apps." You
Right.
know, they kind of got
Yeah.
that, and they just assumed it was like games. And then, of course, because that's their only context, it's a little more difficult now, I think. So, what I try and tell people is, uh, and this is even just beyond kids, because once you're outside the tech world, you never know what the real understanding is of technology in general. So, I try and frame it like I do technical marketing, so I try and craft writing and videos to promote our products to a more technical audience, and usually that kind of resonates. Or maybe at this point they just give up on me and walk away. I think a lot of us kind of struggle with that kind of small talk, at what used to be like little social gatherings. It's unless you work for a huge company like Google or Microsoft that everybody already knows, it can be some stuff can kind of get lost in
Yeah,
translation.
yeah, for sure. Now, I mean, you have been in the tech industry for a long, long time. How did you get started? Walk us through your career path a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, in my undergrad degree was in behavioral science and law, and I
Interesting.
got a criminal justice minor slash certificate thing here at the University of
Wow.
Wisconsin. I was all set to go pre-law. There was no doubt in my mind. And um, my senior year of college, I got a slightly random job doing Mac tech
Hmm.
support at a department on campus. And from there, I had a fantastic boss who basically was a mentor to me from then on and really got me into programming. So I was doing active server pages, like ASP Classic
Oh, I
stuff.
remember those.
Absolutely. Cold
Yeah,
Fusion,
yeah.
Perl. I mean, you name it, we kind of dabbled in it. And I realized at that moment that, like, you know, a lot of the same skills for folks who think they're going to get into to law actually do apply to engineering. It's a lot of logic based reasoning and logic based thought processes that apply equally well. So in hindsight, it's not too surprising I ended up getting into development, but at the time it was. But no, I spent the first big chunk of my career at the University of Wisconsin
Go
doing
Badgers.
custom. Yeah, right. So doing a lot of custom web and mobile app development. Thought I would do that forever, frankly, until I met up with very serendipitously met up with two of our old friends, Burke Holland and Todd Anglin, at a conference in Las Vegas at a .NET conference there, and we just hit it off. And within a few months, Burke had offered me a role in this field called developer relations that I had never heard of, but turned out that I loved it. And yeah, the rest is history, as they
Yeah,
say.
yeah, no, that's quite a story, and we've talked about this. Like one of the best parts of our industry is like how, as long as you can think straight, you can think logically, you can teach yourself our craft. It's really just a lot of practice.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm completely self-taught for better or worse. I mean, I have horrific imposter syndrome, like many of us have. But no, I think it's. I think at the end of the day, like no matter how ugly you think your code is, if you're delivering working software, you've succeeded.
Exactly. Yeah, and speaking of like developer relations, that's like a whole other layer of trying to have a hard or having a hard time explaining what you do because there's so many things we do. Yeah. So, what's exciting about what you do at work?
I think what I'm really getting into lately is having Fiddler put on our plate. And initially, I was like, "Oh, really, Fiddler? I mean, it's so old. Like,
Mm,
what new things can we talk about with Fiddler?" But I've really learned over, and this is, I mean, this is in the past weeks even, that not only is the fiddler community so humongous, like it's massive, and people are really passionate about it.
Yeah.
It's been so useful. So seeing that, that's been kind of inspiring to me, but also to see the direction in which we're taking a new product. Like it's called Fiddler Everywhere. So it's a, you can think of it as like the next generation of fiddler tooling. Primarily, it's cross-platform, built on Electron, works for Mac, Linux, and Windows, of course, equally well. But it's really exciting to see what the team is working on and what they're releasing, and to see finally a more focused iteration of Fiddler. Because right now, for folks out there who have used Fiddler, it's got a million features,
Hmm.
right? It's like the ultimate example of feature creep.
Right.
Not necessarily in a bad way. I mean, there's
Yeah.
reasons why these things were added, but to see a new version that is saying, what are Fiddler's real strengths in today's market? Let's get those in Fiddler Everywhere, and let's see what else we can slowly but surely add to this product to make it, the next great
Yeah.
uh, network kind of proxy debugging
No,
tool.
no, well said. I mean, there are just so many folks that we know that kind of grew up with Fiddler using
Yeah,
that as a network proxy, and they have like this fondness of like their early days of getting into software and looking under the covers. So
right.
it's wonderful that all of you are taking this to the next step. So yeah, that's all great. And
I think like it's a great way for, you know like you just said. I mean, for me, my first real experience with computers was, we had a Mac Plus at home, right? And I'll never forget, like the first aha moment I had with computers was trying to get a program working that was meant for like a Macintosh 2. I'm really dating myself here, but get it to run on a Mac Plus, because I had to move it from a larger capacity floppy to a smaller capacity floppy. And so what I did, I went through and like I took out all the sound resources, the audio resources, and it's, I mean, I can really, there's a corollary there between what we were doing, what I was doing then with Fiddler, to a certain extent, because you see these young kids, yes, and they want to see like what's going on, like, and this isn't a product pitch, this is like legitimate, like they want to, what's going on behind the scenes here with this program, like what network calls is it making, um, and you can use Fiddler to do all that, and it's all free and everything. So it's really cool to see, you know a product we're working on be kind of an integral part for how people get started
yeah.
with development.
Cool, very cool. Now, like outside of products, outside of everything that we do, like internally, what motivates you in the dev community? What motivates you to do what you do?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to, what's always inspired me from day one is, I can easily relate to like a beginner developer learning something new for the first time. I mean, I've been technically like engineering solutions for many, many years now, but I'm intimidated every single time I start looking at a new piece of technology, and I have a hard time shaking that. So I think what really excites me is knowing that I'm providing some content, some documentation, video, whatever it may be, that's going to enable a new novice developer, maybe somebody like me who's just new to something, and get them over that hump
No,
easily, right? And make them feel empowered right away with a tool. I think that's what has always really scratched that itch for me.
no, no. Well said about that. So, I mean, anybody in software will tell you, like, I mean, if we're not being uncomfortable, we're not trying hard enough. Like new stuff, we have to keep learning. And
Right.
there are always that aha moments, no matter how long you have been doing it. Like, oh, I get this. Here's how the basics work, and then we can build on top of it.
Right. Which is crazy, because I think back to when you know, the years kind of blended together so much when I was a .NET developer, because nothing really was changing for I mean, for years at a time, almost like from
Yeah.
between .NET 1.1 and 2.0. I mean, it was, I don't know, 2 or 3 years or something, or something
Even
like that.
more,
I don't
like
know, but it
even like
was
I would say, like even with .NET, like from 1.1 to like 4, like not a huge number of things changed. I mean, they kept on adding more and more pieces to the foundation, but yeah, not a whole lot of things evolved like things have in the last like 5 or 6 years. It's like
right.
everything is
It's
upside
just,
down. Yeah. All right. So I know you have worked in open source for years and years. Do you have like a love-hate relationship?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think open source really is the innovation engine for all of us, for all of tech. I mean, to label everything in one tech umbrella, like it's really the innovation engine. It provides a really easy way. Like GitHub is amazing. It provides a really easy way for new developers to present their ideas to the world, and a lot of it's crap, but some great things come out of that too. That being said, there's a flip side to that, and I think even my experience, again, to go way back in time, open source was very much frowned upon when I was, in when I was deep into engineering. Enterprises that I was working with and for, they saw this as unsupported technology that added a lot of risk, and some of that has changed as times have changed, but that some of that risk still remains, and um, even to today, I mean, we all know about like the infamous incidents like the left pad debacle with npm, where left pad was a dependency of a dependency of a dependency, and it broke people's workflows. Like the it makes me, again, I'm really conflicted in this whole message, like what I want to talk about, because I see the value. I see both sides. There's immense value with immense risk. So there's no overall. There's obviously a net benefit, but I would think I was trained early on to be very wary of open source, and I'm just trying to work through that as time goes on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, to your point, a lot of things have evolved. Like when, especially on the Microsoft side of the family, where a lot of enterprises have been so in that silo,
Yeah.
and now everything being open source. So I think definitely the mindsets have changed. But there is always a little bit of hesitation sometimes, especially if you're like a maintainer on an individual level. That's a lot of work for not a lot of maybe payout. But again, you're sharing, you're learning, you're putting out your passion, and monetization is something that's important for individuals and like smaller shops. And I mean, there's support. There are different things you can do. But I mean, to me, like coming from a Microsoft background, like all of the .NET stuff that we do, it's open source, but it's shepherded. It's heavily
Mhm.
driven in a right direction by these gigantic companies. So I mean, a lot of the confidence that we now see enterprises have in open source, maybe because like the bigger names are in the picture, and they're driving it forward.
Right. Right. Yep. Totally agree.
All right, so that's all the work stuff. And again, as I've said before, you're amazing, and we are very appreciative of everything that you do for our
Appreciate
company
it.
as well as for the dev community. But let's talk about stuff outside of just work. What's your work-life balance thing like? What do you like to do outside of work?
Well, I like to wander around my house these days and put away dishes. No, I mean it's obviously what we're all going through is pretty unprecedented to say the least. But this time of year makes it all the more difficult for a lot of us because we were used to getting outside, and
Yeah.
family, we like to go camping, go hiking here and there, and that's been a lot more difficult. So we try and make the most out of like every weekend getting outside and
Yeah.
doing something. I mean, just to break it up. And if one kind of funny story I like to tell is we got kind of desperate a couple weeks ago. Uh, I had to drop off our van at the dealer, which is on the other side of town in Madison. Madison's like a mid-sized city, about 250, 300,000 people. Um, and I decided what we would do is we would drive the van over there and drop it off and then walk home. Turned out to be like a 4 hour walk,
But
which it was a very silly thing to do, but at the same time, it was like this whole pandemic,
yeah.
and we're fortunate enough. Like I feel very lucky to have a job. Frankly, feel very lucky that nobody is sick in my immediate family, and so it's forced us to really look outside the box and find new fun things to do. But otherwise, I don't know, like to play ultimate frisbee, which again is not possible today. I'm trying to
Mhm.
think of what I like to do that's outside the house that is possible right now, and I'm running out of ideas.
Yeah,
After
I saw a funny
the-
tweet by like again, some of us travel quite a bit for work, and somebody
yeah,
was asking like, "Do you even remember where your passport is?" Like it's even like I mean, we work from home. We have been for like years and years, but this is very different. Like we're not used to having kids at home, and not being able to see people in person and just socialize. This is very very different, and it's
yeah,
hard. So yeah, I think all of us are just trying to power through and stay positive and be productive as much as we can.
yeah.
Yeah. So what about any other like techie things? Are you into? You have two kids, right? How old are they now?
They are 11 and 14, I
Okay, so
believe. Yeah,
yeah, still keeps you very busy, but
definitely.
over the hump of like having to handhold them for everything, I guess, right?
Which, again, I'm pretty thankful. Like their online schooling has been very hands off for me. So I know
That's
other
nice.
folks are really struggling with that, and um,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm
like
sure you.
yeah, we have a 4-year-old, and their online school is like get on a Zoom call and just like a bunch of 4-year-olds just shouting at each other. So there's a lot of like one-on-one time that we still need to do, which is fine, and it kind of has forced us into a lot of family time. And I'm like planning on what can I wear to the mailbox each day, so stuff like that. So yeah, what about tech gadgets? Would you like to have, and what's your favorite one?
So yeah, this is a big double-edged sword for me because I'm the kind of person I don't like stuff, right? I don't like to accumulate things. Like our house is very modest by many standards. It's not that big, so it prevents me from like buying a lot of gadgets or a lot of things. But that being said, I've been pretty obsessed. I don't want to say the name because it's going to make it go off, but the Echo. I mean,
Can't say the
uh,
words. They're all gonna just
yeah,
wake up.
I and it's really made music consumption for us in the house like dramatically different. Like
Mm.
we have these devices. I know privacy nuts will want to kill me here, but like I think we have it in almost every room of the house. Like uh, these the devices were, and it's just amazing to me that I can say so and so give me the latest album by this band, and I just get to hear it. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think so it's really like it's fun to see this intersection of technology and practical like
Yeah.
utility for me. I think it's been the most, for years we've been talking about a smart home and we haven't really seen the promise of it yet, but this is one way that I think we are
Yeah.
starting to see it.
Now, when you say like you have these things in different parts of your home, like are they chained? Like, do they all play the same thing when they come on, or they're different?
No, not chain. I mean, I know that's possible, but no, we try and keep everything separate.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the kids go nuts.
Right. Right. Yeah. And have you like tried tinkering around with any of this, like integrating your stuff, the things
Yeah.
that you want to do with them?
So one of the products that I work on is called Native Chat, and this is like I said at the beginning, like an AI assisted chatbot. So fully automated chatbot. One of our publishing targets is the Amazon Echo line of devices, and so we've actually set it up to be very simple to publish the same chatbot that you would use within a web app or a mobile app to use that with a smart speaker as well. So it's pretty cool to see that like a something like a smart speaker that we never really thought too much of a couple of years ago when this product was first being spun up to now having it be it was relatively easy to get up and
Yeah,
running.
yeah, I love it. Like this, almost like we are opening up newer ways of human computer interactions, and there's like so much power in developer hands. Like you
It's
are, I mean, it's not just Amazon; it's obviously Microsoft and a whole bunch of other players with chatbots, and these are mostly like cloud powered, and they're bringing all of their AI, all of their support to you. Like when we say something to these devices, like the breaking it up, like what's your intent, what are the things you want to say, it's all done and it's all ready for you to use. Yeah,
and it's intense. It's so fast, and I mean that there's still plenty of mistakes that are made, and I know that whole uncanny valley situation where if it's not perfect, it adds a lot of
right,
friction for some folks. But it's cool to see some of the promise being delivered.
for sure. And you mentioned home automation. Anything you do in that front, or that you have?
No, I mean I've certainly like I've wanted to dabble. Like I got a few years ago, I got really into some IoT platforms like Particle and kind of just playing around with lights and stuff like that. But it never really it didn't when I was all done with it, it didn't feel like this was a natural part of my living space. It felt like a silly little tech hobby. So I think we're still, it's still early days for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I see Mate 10 us in the chat room. Good to see you. Nothing's going on. We're just chatting. It's Friday. It's almost the end of the day on East Coast time. So we're just chatting, but good to see you. Good, quick hi for you. What about, so since we are all kind of living through fun times, what about food? Are you a foodie? Do you like to cook?
Yeah, I mean, my wife and daughter are massive foodies.
Nice.
They, we eat really well, I'll say. And if you ask my kids what their favorite food is, they'll say sushi for sure.
Nice.
But, so it's been a bit of in some ways, been a bit of a struggle for us with the pandemic because it's harder to go out to restaurants to say
Yeah.
the least. But we do our best to support those businesses, and in making whatever we can at home. Actually, my daughter, I'd say at least once a week, she's baking something new. So
Nice.
I'm fattening up. I'd show you my belly if it were appropriate, but
Yeah, so that's kind of been like a fallback comfort thing during these times where we are all, I think, like cooking more. People are baking bread. We try to like plate things nicely, even if it's just like two of us, and like the 4-year-old doesn't care.
right.
Yeah, so yeah, we were definitely cooking a lot more. And I was going to ask you, like, if you remember, so Rob and I have worked together, and one of the I like asking people like, what's the spiciest food you have ever tried? And I immediately go back to our memories of trying out burgers in Eastern Europe, which were still like the hottest things that I've ever actually tried. Yeah.
Yeah. I have very, very fond memories of what was it? It was called the Mother of Dragon
Yes,
Burger.
it was a place called Boom Burger in the middle of Sofia, Bulgaria, and they had a burger called Mother of Dragons, which was like viper pepper and like Carolina Reaper, something else kind of mixed in, and it was in the patty itself. There's just no escaping it. And the first bite you take, you realize like, oh my God, what have I done? And it came with a milkshake, but it just did not help. And your body is like, what is this? Why are you eating this?
I know it's when I think I like hot food, and then when I get something that's legit spicy,
Yeah.
it's no. We have a lot of good pictures from there. If I knew you were going to bring it up, I would have brought the pictures.
Yeah, maybe best not to see some of those pictures. So, have you tried like ever making sushi at home?
Yeah, actually, we've done it a couple times. It's just very labor
It is,
intensive.
yeah.
It's a lot of work. So we've modified the recipes to make a much easier version where you're not actually making the rolls yourself, but more of providing all the ingredients and then kind of
Hmm.
throwing that plate. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I bet like a lot of knife work and just like a lot of labor just to get like a single thing done.
right.
Yeah. All right. So, if you had $1 million, $1 million right now, what would you do?
Oh, there's a lot of different answers for that, Sam. Um, my boring answer would be I would save it and retire early.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think when the pandemic first hit, it's kind of an offshoot here, but when it first hit, we had taken time off for spring break, of course, like many of us do. And so instead of working, I was like, well, I'm going to take the time off anyway. And I sat around at home for a week, and I realized, man, I need a plan when it comes to retiring because I was bored within the first day. So when I joke about retiring early or retiring at all, now I'm like now I get a bit moment of panic where I'm like, actually, maybe I'm way more invested in my job than
Yeah.
I fully realized. But no, I mean, for $1 million, I mean, I I I, I think I'd like to think that I would donate a big chunk of it because my we've been pretty good. I mean, not to say we're super altruistic here or anything, but we've been pretty good during this time. Like probably about every other week, we go to a local food bank and donate. We spend about 4 hours, putting together boxes of food and stuff
Nice.
in the
That's
safest
nice of
way.
you.
So So we try. I mean, it's not saying we're doing an amazing thing, but it's something. So those are boring things. What kind of cool thing would I do? We love traveling. If I waste money ever, it's because of traveling. So I would spend a lot of money on some amazing trips.
Yeah, and some might argue like that's not like wasted money because like travel opens your mind and you just see and
Absolutely.
experience
Yeah.
different things. Yeah.
And I was lucky enough last year to get my kids to come along with me to Bulgaria
Nice.
for it was the last time I was in Bulgaria was
Very nice.
with the kids in August. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we might travel all we can for work, but you're just always stressed. You're always trying to get something done. It's like quick in and out. You don't get to relax and like look around.
Right.
So it's good to take the family when you can, and yeah, I mean you said it right. So I think software industry. I mean, again, not all of it, but we are still uniquely positioned to be able to function the way we do in these times. But not a lot of industries are fortunate. So there are lots of people like the economic impacts are staggering. So anything we can to, like you said, support our local businesses, our donation centers, anything helps.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, what's in your inbox? What are you looking forward to in the next few months? Maybe next few years. What are you kind of excited about?
Yeah, I try not to look that far ahead. Don't want to jinx anything, but I'm looking like work wise. I'm really focused on what we're doing with Fiddler. I think there's a lot of cool things that are coming. Um, personally, just hoping to get out of the house more. I have very low expectations, so I hope the bar is low enough that we can start getting past 2020 as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah. By all means, and hopefully things will turn around. But this year has not had a good start. So
Not,
hopefully,
not
yeah,
really.
the second half is a little better. All right, Rob. So I appreciate you a lot. I know you're busy, but just taking the time out to come just have a chat. And I mean, a lot of us go to tech conferences, and a big part of it is just hanging out with somebody
Yep.
over a cup of coffee and just like chatting. So that's a little bit of what we are trying to bring back here, here in the chat show at Coded Live. So, folks in the chat room, or if you're watching this later on, you can find Rob. I have Rob's Twitter handle right down there. So pretty much, Rob, anything that you do that you're excited about and that your team produces, that's kind of one of the outlets where you'll put it out.
Yep, for sure.
All right, so Rob, like I've said, we appreciate you a lot here at Progress Software, and I'm sure the dev community around Madison and everywhere else that you go, we appreciate you a lot, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
No, thanks for having me, Sam.
All right, folks, that's going to be for now from us. Like I said many times, we love you all. We love that you come and hang out with us in the chat rooms when we go throughout the week. And Fridays are just for us to kind of hang out and have a good time. Appreciate and cheer the folks that we work with all the time. So thank you, and hopefully we'll see you at an upcoming stream next week. We do put out a lot of content. There's a calendar right under the video if you want to see what we're up to. And keep doing what you're doing and stay productive, stay happy.
Bye, everyone.
All right, that's it from us. Bye now.